Alrighty, folks, we connected on 3 premium picks on my website yesterday. We had the Rangers, Astros, and the under in that Astros game, and they all cashed. And, of course, that's going to improve our record to 2-0 in our last couple of daily best plays on that premium page. 70% in our last 31 picks in that very same category as well. And the good news is, guys, I have another daily best play going off here today for just $1.99. And if you sign up for that package here today, you're going to get access to one premium selection of mine every single day for the next 30 days. The math works out to be just 6 cents a day. Now, I currently have over 780 members who are signed up and active on my premium page right now. And you may be wondering what the difference is between what I do on my premium site and what I do here on YouTube. Well, what I do here on YouTube is I'll handicap the entire slate of games in any given sport, side and total. And what I do on my premium page is actually share with you which one of these free plays I actually like the best. Now, if you want to get access to every single premium selection of mine, you may want to think about signing up for my full access, all-inclusive chairman package. Chairman members get access to every single personal play of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. The math, and actually as an added bonus, you also get access to my chairman podcast absolutely free. It's included with your purchase. I'm 2-0 my last couple of daily best plays, 70% my last 31 in that same category. And finally, I'm hitting at 63% in my last 24 chairman plays on that page. And once again, it's patreon.com/BrockPage. The link is in the description section below. And with that, folks, we're going to jump into some free content. We're going to start off with the first of a double dip, Dodgers Rockies Game 1. That'll be a 3:10 Eastern first pitch. Now, this game's currently off the board, but regardless of who makes the start for either team, well, it's these Rockies pitchers who've been collectively just terrible at Coors Field. They're allowing over 10.8 hits a game on their own diamond. That is worst in the bigs. And no real shock, the Rockies allow a league worst 6.6 runs a game in front of their own fans. Now, they're facing a Dodger club who continues to win ball games, even though they clinched. The Dodgers got the W in 8 out of their last 10. And they do really pound the baseball. Matter of fact, the Dodgers are scoring more runs a game on the road than any other club in the league right now. Freddie Freeman's got the 3rd highest batting average in the majors. OPS in the 900s. Meanwhile, Mookie Betts, he's in the top 5 in the National League in batting average, home runs, RBI, and OPS. Give me the Dodgers getting the job done for some moneyline cash in Game 1. Next matchup, Reds Guardians, 6:10 p.m. East. Now, this game's pretty much a coin flip. Both teams are minus $1.10 at the moment. Total is 8 runs. Lucas Giolito for Cleveland, Hunter Green for Cincinnati. And even though Green's numbers are not stellar, the righties punched out 143 batters this year. Now, as a team, the Reds have played quite well for him as well. They got the W in 3 out of his last 4 starts. And these guys have done a nice job hitting on the road this year as well. The Reds are currently a top 10 run-producing lineup away from their own diamond. Spencer Steer leads the roster in RBI and hits. Johnny India's got the most runs scored. The Reds are going to face righty Lucas Giolito, who's allowed a whole bunch of runs this year over the course of, 3 teams? And even if he looks good here today, these Guardians bats, they've given the Cleveland faithful very little to cheer about this year. The Guardians score just 3.7 runs a game at Progressive Field. Now, 4 out of the Guardians' last 7 home games did fall under the total. There were also 62% to the under in their interleague contests in Cleveland. Give me the Reds minus $1.10, under 8. Next matchup. What do they call this? The Beltway Series? I think they call it the Beltway Series. Anyway, Nationals, Orioles, 6:35 East. Baltimore's minus 240 totals 8 runs. Kyle Bradish for Baltimore. Josiah Gray for Washington. Now, Gray's recorded a dozen losses for the Nationals this year, and he's got an ERA in the 4s. When it comes to offensive production, the Nats have struggled at the plate in their travels. These guys are in the bottom 5 of the National League in run production on the road. They're also facing an 11-win Kyle Bradish, who's got an ERA of 3.01, along with a stifling 1.07 whip. Now, Bradish is also backed by a Baltimore lineup who's no stranger to scoring runs. These guys are in the top 5 in the American League in runs per game. Anthony Santander's got 92 ribbies on the season. Adley Rutschman's the club leader in hits. Now, injury-wise, Ryan Mountcastle's still out for Baltimore. Adams and Garrett inactive for Washington. 3 out of Gray's last 4 starts did get over the total. 8-4 to the over in their last dozen in that same category. Give me the Orioles minus 1.5 over 8. Next contest, little AL Central action. Royals at the Tigers, 6:40 p.m. East. Kansas City's minus $1.20, totals 8.5. Zach Greinke for Kansas City. Reese Olson for Detroit. And even though Olson's record isn't great, the righty's averaging just about a strikeout an inning. He also comes into today's start with a solid 1.11 whip. And in Detroit's last 10 meetings with the Royals, they've really pitched well against him. They've actually held KC to just 3.7 runs a game during that time frame. So if you're into historical trends, certainly want to think about that one there. And we could see more of that here today. The Royals are currently dead last in run production on the road. They also have righty Zach Greinke on the mound, and he's been pretty pathetic. The veteran's just 1-15 on the year with an ERA of 5.37. 5 out of Greinke's last 7 starts did fall under the total. The Tigers have also gone 61% to the under against the AL Central. Give me the Tigers plus $1 under 8.5. Next ball game, Battle of Poop. Battle of PA. I'm not calling PA poop, but just if you watch this game, look at the scoreboard on the, upper left hand of the screen. It'll say P, the score 0-0, and then P. It says poop. Anyway, Pirates, Phillies, very immature, very sophomoric. I'm disgusted with myself. But anyway, Pirates, Phillies, 6:40 p.m. East. Philadelphia's minus $1.70, totals 9 runs. Aaron Nola for the Fightins, Mitch Keller for Pittsburgh. And, really, Mitch was one of the fewer bright spots for the Bucks this year. The righty recorded 13 wins on the season, and he does currently have 204 strikeouts. He's amongst the league leaders in strikeouts. Now, as a team, the Pirates got the W in 6 out of their last 7 Keller starts. They're facing a Philly clubhouse who struggles with strikeouts at the plate. These guys are a bottom 10 strikeout team at the dish. They also have Aaron Nola on the mound, who's allowed his fair share of earned runs. The righty comes into today's ballgame with an ERA of 4.57. Now, 3 out of the Phil's last 4 at Citizens Bank Park got over the total. They're also 7-3 to the over in their last 10 at any location. Now, 5 out of Pittsburgh's last 6 road games got over the number themselves. Give me Pittsburgh plus 1.5 over 9. Next ball game, little AL East action. Yankees at the Blue Jays, 7:07 Eastern first pitch. Toronto's minus $1.55, total 7. Kevin Gausman for Toronto, Michael King for New York. And even though King's looked really good this year, the Bombers just don't play well for him. New York's lost 5 out of their last 7 Michael King starts. Meanwhile, at the dish, this was consistently one of the worst hitting lineups in baseball this year. The Pinstripers average fewer hits per 9 than any other roster besides Oakland. Now, they also have to face starting pitcher Kevin Gausman, who leads the American League in strikeouts on the mound. The righty's punched out 232 batters. He's got an ERA in the low 3s. Now, this Toronto pitching staff has thrown quite well in Rogers Center. These guys are allowing only 3.9 runs a game in their own building. And in their last 10 meetings with the Yankees, the under cashed in 70% of those gatherings. The Bombers scored only 2.9 runs a game during that stretch. So once again, if you're into historical trends, plenty of unders to go around. Now, 3 out of Toronto's last 4 at home also stayed under the number. Give me Toronto minus 155, under 7. Next ball game, NL East, Marlins Mets, 7-10 East. Miami's the $1.30 favorite on the road, totals 8 runs. Braxton Garrett for the Fish, Joey Lucchesi for New York. And even though Lucchesi's thrown well, the Mets do have a losing record against divisional opponents. They've also had all kinds of problems at the plate in Flushing, Queens. These guys are dead last in the National League in home hits per contest. They're facing Braxton Garrett here today, who's got an ERA in the 3s, along with a 1.14 whip. And even if Garrett struggles, the Marlins have no problem getting base runners. They're in the top 5 in the National League in hits per game. And, of course, a lot of that is thanks to Luis Arias, who hits a league-best .353 at the plate. Jorge Soler's got the 10th most home runs in the bigs as well. New York's gone 13-7 to the under against the NL East at home. They're also 60% to the under in their last 10 more recently. Give me the Marlins minus $1.30, under 8. Next ball game, Rays, Bo Sox, 7-10 Eastern first pitch. Tampa Bay's minus $1.25, totals 8.5. Zach Eflin for the Rays, Tanner Houck for Boston. Now, Houck's just 5-9 on the year with an ERA close to 5. And no real shock, these Boston pitchers have really struggled in Beantown. They're allowing nearly double-digit hits a game at Fenway Park. They're also facing a Tampa squad on the other side who's nearly leading the American League in runs per game. Isaac Paredes has 30 homers and 95 runs batted in. And even if the Rays struggle in the box here today, starting pitcher Zach Eflin's probably going to keep him in the ball game. The righty's 15-8 on the year with a 1.03 whip. Now, Tampa's Eflin also punched out 182 batters on the season. Now, injury-wise, Diaz and Arozarena are questionable. Keep an eye on them. Siri and Raley are both still out. Meanwhile, for Boston, Urias and Casas are both out for them. When it comes to the total, the Bo Sox allowed 5.8 runs a game in their last 10 meetings with Tampa Bay. They also saw 6 out of their last 7 Tanner Houck starts get over the number. Tampa Bay, on the other side, they are 7-3 the over in their last 10 themselves. Give me the Rays minus $1.25, over 8.5. Next matchup, Cubs, Braves, 7:20 p.m. East. Atlanta's the $1.45 favorite at home, totals 9.5. Bryce Elder for the Braves, Justin Steele for Chicago. Now, I don't want to fade Steele in the spot here. He's been throwing really well for most of the season. Chicago's still in a dogfight for a playoff spot as well, so very meaningful baseball right now for the Cubbies. Now, Steele's also recorded 16 wins this season, and he's got a solid 1.17 whip. Of course, he's backed by the a top 5 run-producing lineup in the National League. Cody Bellinger's in the top 10 in the National League in both batting average and OPS. Nico Horner leads the clubhouse in hits. Of course, they're facing an Atlanta club who's kind of put it into cruise control here after winning the division. They lost 6 out of their last 10 outings, and their pitching's been pretty bad during that stretch, getting a lot of guys some work, not particularly, throwing their best. And, of course, speaking of pitching, the Braves took the loss in their last 2 straight Bryce Elder starts. Now, 8 out of Atlanta's last 10 ball games did get over the total. No real surprise there. Bad pitching. Totals go over. Chicago went 60% to the over in their last 10 themselves. Give me the Cubs plus 1.5, keeping that one close. Over 9.5 runs. Next matchup, D-backs, White Sox, 7:40 p.m. East. Arizona's minus $1.40, totals 9.5. Zach Davies for the Diamondbacks, Jose Urena for Chicago. And as bad as Davies has been for Arizona, well, Urena's somehow been worse. He's 0-6 overall for the season, spent half of the year in Colorado, other half in Chicago. Urena comes into today's start with a cumulative ERA in the 7s. And he's also backed by a Chicago lineup who can't score. These guys are in the bottom 3 in runs per game. And as bad as Davies' numbers are on the other side, the D-backs do love playing for the guy. They actually did get the W in their last 4 straight Zach Davies starts. They're also averaging over 8.3 runs a game in his last 6 straight starts as well. Corbin Carroll's got 51 stolen bases on the season, wins above replacement average of 5.4. Meanwhile, Christian Walker's hit 31 homers and has 97 RBI. 4 out of Arizona's last 5 road games did get over the total. They also went 8-2 to the over in their last 10. Now, Chicago, on the other side, they saw 3 out of their last 4 at guaranteed rate field get over the line. Give me Arizona minus $1.40, over 9.5. Next ball game, A's Twins, 7:40 p.m. East. Minnesota's the $2 favorite, totals 8.5. Bailey Ober for the Twins, Paul Blackburn for Oakland. And to be fair, Paul Blackburn's given these guys opportunities to win games. He's got 101 strikeouts on the year, and the A's actually did get the W in 8 out of his last dozen starts. Now, they're facing a Minnesota club on the other side of things, who their lineup just strikes out way too much. These guys are fanning over 10.3 times a game. That is a league worst. And no real surprise here, folks. They're also in the bottom 10 in hits per game. Now, the Twins have cashed in on the run line in just 43% of their home games against the American League. Give me Oakland plus 1.5, keeping that one close, under 8.5 runs. Next matchup, little NL Central action. Cards, Brewers, 7:40 p.m. East. Milwaukee's minus 155 at home, totals 8 runs. Adrian Hauser for the Brewers, Zach Thompson for St. Louis. Now, Thompson's averaging over a strikeout an inning for the Redbirds. And the Cards have also played quite well for Thompson recently. They got the W in 4 out of their last 6 Zach Thompson starts. And, of course, offensively, Paul Goldschmidt leads the roster in hits. Now, teammate Lars Nootbaar, he's got 70 runs scored as well. The Cardinals are facing Adrian Hauser on the mound here today, and he really has not been all that crisp this year. Strikeouts are down for the righty, and he's also gotten himself an ERA in the 4s for Milwaukee. Now, he comes into this start here today with a 1.43 whip, and at the plate, the Brewers have struggled recently with St. Louis pitching, which is surprising because the Cardinals' pitching staff stinks. But anyway, Milwaukee's been held to under 3.6 runs a game in their last 10 gatherings with St. Louis. And really, that's not overly surprising. The Brewers have a bottom 5 hit-producing lineup in the National League at home. Now, Milwaukee's gone 60% to the under in their divisional home games. They also went 7-30 under in their last 10 meetings with St. Louis. So once again, if you're into historical trends, plenty of unders to go around. Give me the Cardinals plus 1.5, under 8. Next ball game, Dodgers Rockies game 2. That'll be an 8:40 Eastern start time. And of course, game 2 is also off the board. And even though I shit all over Colorado in game 1, I do think they have an opportunity to at least cover the run line in game 2. This is a team who's pounded the baseball at Coors Field. As a matter of fact, the Rockies are a top 5 hit-producing lineup on their own diamond. They're also averaging over 5.2 runs a game in Denver this year. Zeke Tovar leads the roster in RBI and hits. Ryan McMahon's got the most home runs. Now, they're facing a Dodger pitching staff who has had some trouble on the road this year. These guys are in the bottom 10 in hits allowed per game while traveling. And no real shock, the Dodgers, they're also in the bottom 10 in road runs allowed. Give me Colorado plus 1.5 in game 2. Next matchup, AL West, Rangers, Angels, 9:38 East. Texas is minus $1.70 on the road, totals 9.5. Cody Bradford for the Rangers, Reed Detmers for Los Angeles. Now, Detmers is still 3-10 on the year with an ERA of 4.64. And if you think about it, it's been this Angel pitching staff that's really cost these guys this year. These Angels pitchers are in the bottom 5 in the American League in runs allowed per game. They're facing a Texas team who's pounded the baseball all season long. These guys average more hits per 9 than any other lineup in the American League. Corey Seager's hitting .331 with an OPS in the thousands. Adolis Garcia is in the top 10 in both home runs and RBI. Now they're backing left-hander Cody Bradford, who has had a pretty solid season. Bradford comes into today's start with a solid 1.19 whip. 6 out of the Rangers' last 10 ball games did get over the total. The Angels went 60% to the over in their last 10 themselves. Give me Texas minus $1.70, over 9.5. Next matchup, NL West. Padres, Giants, 9:45 East. San Diego's minus $1.25 on the road, totals 8.5. Seth Lugo for San Diego. Kyle Harrison for San Francisco. Now, the lefty Harrison's allowed his fair share of earned runs this year. He comes into today's start with an ERA close to 5. And of course, these Giants hitters have also had a tough time scoring at Oracle Park. They're a bottom 5 run-producing lineup at home in the Bigs. And in their last 10 gatherings with the Pods, they've also had their hands full with San Diego pitching. The Pods held them to just 3.2 runs a game in those 10 meetings. We could see more of the same here today with Seth Lugo on the mound. The Padres righty has an ERA in the 3s. He averages just about a strikeout an inning. Now, the Pods have also scored quite a bit on the road. They're now a top 10 run-producing lineup in their travels. Juan Soto's got the 5th most RBI in the majors, OPS in the 900s. Xander Bogaerts leads the roster in hits. 6 out of San Diego's last 10 ball games did fall under the total. They also went 60% to the under in their last 10 gatherings with the Giants. Give me the Padres minus $1.25, under 8.5. And with that, folks, we're going to jump into our next and final matchup for the video. It's going to be in that Astros-Mariners game, 10:05 Eastern start time. Seattle's minus $1.40, totals 8 runs. George Kirby for Seattle, Christian Javier for Houston. And unfortunately, guys, I cannot give you a free pick for this game. No freebie. And with that, folks, now it is time for our quick pick recap. Give me the Dodgers getting the job done for some moneyline cash in Game 1. Cincinnati Reds minus $1.10, under 8. Orioles minus 1.5, over 8 runs. I'm 2-0, my last 2 $1.99 daily best plays on my premium page. And the good news is I have another $1.99 daily best play going off each and every single day on that page. The link for that pick is in my bio. Detroit Tigers plus $1, under 8.5. Pirates plus 1.5, over 9. Blue Jays minus 155, under 7. Marlins minus 130, under 8. Tampa Bay Rays minus $1.25, over 8.5. Chicago Cubs plus 1.5, over 9.5. Arizona minus 140, over 9.5. Oakland A's plus 1.5, under 8.5 runs. St. Louis Cardinals plus 1.5, under 8. Colorado Rockies plus 1.5, covering the run line in Game 2. Texas Rangers minus 170, over 9.5. Give me the Padres minus $1.25, under 8.5. And I have no free pick for you in the Astros-Mariners game. And with that, folks, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my premium site. Now, if you do end up getting a membership here today on patreon.com/rockpage, just a friendly reminder, you're going to get access to that membership every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, guys, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships absolutely free. They're going to be included with your purchase. That's why I always tell folks that Chairman membership, it's a full access, all-inclusive package. It gives you access to every single personal play of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. And of course, as an added bonus, you also get access to my Chairman podcast, absolutely free. It's included with your purchase. But most importantly, guys, gotta thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. With that said, folks, happy Tuesday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my premium site at patreon.com/rockpage.